Hi friends, it's me again. Hope you are well.
I think you're overreacting.
I make videos on Monday and Thursday on the funny side of life with anxiety and depression. And today it's time to look into that fun, super exciting, high energy subject of depression. And more specifically, how it can completely fuck up your day if you're subjected to something like a Zoom call. So as we know, Zoom calls have become part of everyday life recently, and like it or not, they're probably here to stay. That's not the point of today. Cannot speak again. Yeah, depression's hilarious. As a caveat to this video, I tried to get back into the mindset of being just really to get the points across, along with the hay fever, along with the sleepiness, that I can't even speak now. So bear with me. I'm trying to be very method on this one. Now, one of the biggest problems with Zoom calls generally is appearance. You know, what do we look like? What the people are going to think.
You disgusting person. Get out of my face.
With depression, it's a weird one because in so many ways, you just don't care what you look like because you've just got no interest in life, in the outside world or anything like that. There's a degree of not caring.
I'm just going to turn up to this video call and just say my piece, whatever it is, and just get out of there as soon as possible so I can get back into bed and carry on just hating my life.
But the very fact that people can see you, it's like someone coming around to your house, that there's a natural want to look better, to look and appear to be fine and happy.
That happens.
And that's a weird feeling to have because it's like putting on that front when you meet someone or you go to work. If you do struggle with depression, you will know that when you are on a really, really bad day and you go to work, you don't want to be that. You put on that front or that facade to either be overly happy or overly jovial or at least normal so people don't suspect anything and start asking you how you're doing, or in my case, I don't want people to feel awkward around me, so therefore I tend to be more normal. Normal is weird in itself. The same thing applies on video calls, whereby you're there and you may even be doing the video call from your bed.
Wait, what?
But because of the nature of the camera and, you know, where you're holding it, people generally can't see where you are. And so it's very easy to mask your readiness for camera and your shit feeling of life and how you're feeling so crappy. The very fact of putting on that front for the other people when you're not actually in their presence doesn't have the same effect as it does when you're in there in real life. So in real life, if you put on that front, you can almost fake it till you make it, and you do maybe feel a bit better for that period of time. But when you're on a video call, it's not the same. So you're feeling absolutely shit and just fucking hating everything and just really down. You've almost got this smile painted on and almost makes you feel worse and makes you realise just how distant you are from society and from other people, the people you're speaking to, because you're feeling so shitty and you're just cocooned at home and the only thing between you and the outside world is this screen. It just makes you feel so much worse.
Everything stinks.
Now, technology is always a difficult one at the best of times with things like Zoom calls because there's so many things that can go wrong and not everyone is super tech savvy and it's so easy to be overwhelmed with all the tech stuff. But if you're depressed and you're really down, anything that goes wrong almost feels like it's a personal attack at you.
Dumbass.
Or it's your fault, or you're somehow responsible for all the bad shit in the world. If something's going wrong on the technology and how to install the app and stuff like that, it's overwhelming. You can get obviously some anxiety with this, but if you're feeling depressed and down and really shitty about life, then you've got to do these things like install an app and download something, and just it's often all too much. And the fact that other people find it easy and it's normal makes you even more separated from society because you're already feeling distant, you're already feeling less of a person, less of a member of society. You can almost feel yourself disappearing into this abyss of nothingness because it's another barrier, it's another obstacle that's put in your way to stop you being normal.
No, sir, I don't like it.
And it's ridiculous how our minds feel this way. We're feeling so shitty, feeling so crappy, and now here's some other barriers. That's just the way the depressed mind works, and it's just horrible. It's another thing, another barrier, or another, you could even say, controversially, another excuse.
What?
And I'm speaking from personal experience when there's that almost addiction to being depressed, and that depression is a comfort zone. Anything that's a challenge to do is almost like, well, you almost use it as an excuse to remain there and not to break through. So it's a really shitty thing.
What is wrong with you?
Like any time depression is really bad, your interest in other things, almost anything, is just diminished massively. Whether that's interest in yourself, your appearance, the state of your house. It's such a horrible, dark place to be in and have that just little interest in anything. When you're on a video call, one of the biggest worries generally is your background and your house and what's happening behind you. And so there's always that thing, to tidy up a bit or angle the camera so it doesn't pick up all of the washing up. Even though nobody really gives a shit about that, there's that natural thing of almost like someone's coming around to your house, you need to tidy up. But when you're feeling really down and depressed and really shitty, in one hand, you're not worried about what you look like, what the background looks like, you just don't care. But the very fact that someone's coming into your house, albeit via a camera, there is also that fear of, am I going to be judged and people are going to think bad of me because I'm looking shit, I'm living in a pigsty.
Funny, because it's true.
So whilst you don't care, you almost care more. And those two together are just, again, a nightmare. And it just spirals into that feeling of some anxiety, but also just adds to that depressive feeling. You're just there feeling like really, really shitty, doing this call, trying to be normal, but in your mind thinking,
oh God, but I'm not normal. I hate my life. I hate everything about everything. And they're going to be judging me about how crap I look and my room.
And it goes to show just how much of a shitty place depression is. It's so dark, and it's not you just want to shut down because there's all these other intrusive thoughts going on at the same time that just confuse and contradict and just all over the place, constantly going on.
That was a bad time for you, wasn't it, boy?
And of course, I'm speaking from my own personal experience, and obviously not everyone is exactly the same, but from what I've read and what I've seen and what I've spoken to people, it's a fairly similar experience, obviously to different degrees.
Okay.
But it's just horrible. It's not just that lying down and just all these things going on in your head, and often they're kind of very dark thoughts. The very fact that you then make a video call when you're in that mindset, you're not caring, but you are caring more, and it's just fucked up, massively fucked up. So if you are dealing with any degree of depression, anxiety, or really any mental health issues, I thoroughly recommend checking out BetterHelp. It's an online service, and they have an app as well. It's one-to-one therapy, and they can really, really help. I'll pop a link in the description so you can check it out, and if you put in the code DAZHANDS, you'll get a 10% discount.
Thank you.
So along with the idea of technology being a real challenge and another obstacle in the way, once things start to go wrong, on the one hand, you want this isolation. You want to be removed from society and away from people and just in your own space and just in your own just little world, because it's just, you can't handle things and just everything is just too horrible and just, it's too much. But also on the other hand, there's possibly a glimmer of reaching out, and of course, speaking personally again, there's always that hope that just you being yourself and showing a degree of, I don't know, depression or something, that someone's going to pick up on it and reach out and save you from this horrible dark place. Even though we want that, but we don't want to ask for that, and it's, again, that completely fucked up mindset.
You are it, Dad.
When things are going wrong, connection things or words are just or just the quality of the picture is bad. Oh, it's so painful, because there's a degree of thinking that's the other people doing it, some sort of degree of paranoia that they're sick of me looking and feeling and sounding like this, they just want me out the way, so they're going to kind of cut the connection. There's also the fact that it's too much to understand, so it's probably my fault that the connection's going wrong, it's something I've done wrong with something, or it's just the fact that upset, or it's just the fact that you're just upset, or it's just that them, or it's just that this is enough to drive you to depression, I tell you. Fuck. Or oh, I'm glad to see the funny side of it. Or it's the fact that because the connection's bad, someone's then not going to be able to see you looking vulnerable and reach out.
You sick little monkey!
And so there's so many kind of possibilities and thoughts that can go on because of poor quality connection. And it could just be the Wi-Fi's a bit rubbish. It's so easy to overthink it, and I think a lot of people with mental health issues do tend to overthink things, often to their own detriment. I know I do, definitely. And that overthinking can just spiral off at some mad tangent in the end and send you off on a path that's completely fictitious, nothing to do with reality, but to you it makes all the sense in the world. It's just, again, it's just a horrible, horrible situation to be in, and just fucked up.
Really, Daddy?
One of the other things that people are often worried about is whether or not the call's going to be recorded, and if you do something silly or embarrassing, someone somewhere will put it on YouTube.
What did it mean to you to see that?
So people often are a bit more reserved on camera and stuff like that. Now, when it comes to having really bad depression, you're on a video call, it's like before, there's some of you just do not give a shit. You just don't care. You're there, you're just bearing through it just to get the call done and just get away from there. But then there's also the other side, thinking,
I look so shitty, I sound so shitty, I sound so just terrible and horrible, and everything looks bad behind, and it's all bad. Oh, and someone's probably going to record this and put it somewhere. And
whilst that's churning away at the back of your mind, the other side is like, I don't care though. And again, it's this sort of duality of thoughts, just fucking terrible, because on one hand it's exhausting, but also it drives you further down that depressive path. And so whatever the situation is, anything that's even out of your control will somehow come back to being to do with you and being either your fault or someone else's dislike for you, and it's just coming back to you, and again just fueling that rabbit hole journey down to ultimate darkness. And it's horrible. Zoom calls, when you're having a depressive episode or just really in a dark place, they're just almost one of the worst things. They just amplify those negative thoughts so much.
Relatable.
Now let me know in the comments which of these has resonated most with you, or if you have any others that has made you feel really, really horrible. And if you haven't subscribed already, I'd love you to. It'd mean the world to me. You can do that down here, and check out my other video up here. And remember, don't take life so seriously. There's enough shitty stuff going on, either with you or the world, but you can always find something to laugh at. Make sure you do that, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.